Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. Well, clear skies, 67 degrees on the barn thermometer this morning. Powered by soy biodiesel, I'm going to be making my way to the Henry County Fair. We'll visit with Sarah Shepard and talk about the new multi-million-dollar event center that houses all the large livestock and the show arena. A couple quick calendar reminders. Powered by soy biodiesel. Tune in today during midday as I'll be broadcasting from the Henry County Fair. We'll be visiting with some of the folks from Truland Equipment, also some of the folks in charge of the new Henry County Event Center that was recently opened. Coming up on Monday, we'll have the next stop with the Axis Seed County Fair Tour. That will be taking place for the fifth check presentation of the season, going to the Miami County Junior Fair Board. On Tuesday, our team heads to the Southwest Ohio Corn Growers Field Day. That's on August the 12th. That remote broadcast is thanks to LCNB National Bank. You can visit them at lcnb.com to learn more about their ag lending. And then finally on Wednesday, Bowling Green, Ohio becomes Pulltown, USA once again as the NTPA rolls into town. The National Tractor Pullers Association, we will be broadcasting there thanks to Nature's premium liquid fertilizers since 1946. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to be one of the participants with the Ohio Crop Tour that's sponsored by the Ohio Field Leader Program, a project of the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff dollars. A fellow scout on that tour was Joe McCandlish, and he had some interesting insights as we discussed after the tour, the differences between scouting from the road versus scouting out in the field.
But like you mentioned, 50, 60, 70, 80 mile an hour, however fast you drive, hopefully the legal speed limit. But going down the road, those outside rows or, even looking across the bean fields and stuff that you're able to see, everything looks amazing. This past month, we have had phenomenal growing conditions this year. I wish we had a little bit of that last year personally because it would have been really helpful. But this year, everything grew. It didn't matter your population on going towards the bean side, whether your population on, 15-inch rows, 7.5-inch if you're drilling stuff, or even 30-inch rows. Everything looks phenomenal. But you get into the field, you start pulling plants, you start looking at height. It tells a lot of a different story. It doesn't matter the variety, the company, everything. It just where you're at, what kind of you're involved into your environment, soil conditions, everything kind of blended to a different story. We really had seen some stuff where beans got aborted on the bottom third. Nodes were farther apart. Some places the nodes were closer together. Beans, you could walk out, they're chest high, but maybe they were only going to yield 40 to 50 bushel. It was really, really, really crazy. And then some stuff with corn, depending on where you're at. For the most part, we saw some pretty good stand. It was consistent stand. Some parts I've been able to scout some stuff in the farther south part of Ohio. And there's some real big variation. There's stuff that's tasseling. There's stuff that's, chest high. There's stuff that's maybe getting close to tasseling. There's stuff that's been tasseled for a week or two. It's huge variations and, wherever you go. So it kind of depends. But for the most part, from what we scouted, it was pretty uniform.
Thanks, Joe. You can read the full reports about the crop tour at ohioagnet.com. Just click on the crop tour link. Well, let's get a look now at your Friday weather forecast going into the weekend, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance, online at seedconsultants.com.
A dry finish to the week here today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. No major changes here. We, again, mostly are dry. I do think that we're going to be seeing humidity be our number one story. Quite uncomfortable across the Buckeye State. But with regard to well-organized precipitation, I don't see it. Is it warm enough that we can see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm? Absolutely. Do I think we see a lot of them? No, I do not. As a matter of fact, as we go through your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I think we are dry here pretty doggone easily. We're seeing a big focus of moisture and energy on several clusters of showers and thunderstorms coming out of the northern plains first, like today and tonight, into the upper Midwest, and then a refiring in the upper Midwest tomorrow night right on through Sunday. But none of that activity is able to make it this far east. I think it's going to take all the way till later Tuesday and into Wednesday before we see showers and thunderstorms hit Ohio. Tuesday, midday and afternoon, northwestern parts of the state. Wednesday, we see that kind of settle southward through other areas. Only 60% coverage, quarter to 3/4 of an inch there. What that does do is kick off a very unsettled weather forecast period, especially for Friday the 15th, Saturday the 16th, Sunday the 17th. I think we have to have showers and thunderstorms in the forecast all 3 of those days. That may be your next good shot of significant precipitation that everybody can see. That's the way your forecast is stacking up. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this. Did you know that soybeans are the secret sauce behind Ohio's booming poultry farms? Each year, poultry consume a whopping 937 million bushels of soybean meal nationwide. This high-protein powerhouse keeps chickens and turkeys thriving, making Ohio number 2 in egg production and number 9 in turkey farming. From farm to table, soybeans power the farms that feed families. Brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff. I'm joined this morning by Denny Bockelman. Denny is with Truland Equipment. And Denny, as we were talking before we came on the air, your tenure as an equipment sales guy and just in general with John Deere goes clear back several generations, actually. 52 years in the business. Tell us where it all started.
Well, it all started when I graduated in 1973 and approached Harry Von Deelen Company about working for them as a mechanic, and was honored that they thought enough of me to hire me. So, and I stayed on ever since. It was a great experience, and glad of every moment I had with it.
Well, folks in Northwest Ohio know Von Deelen Equipment from years ago. It's gone through some different iterations and name changes. Now Truland Equipment. Take us back to some of the early days, where things started and the move from Gerald to Napoleon and just all how that shaped out.
Well, it all started in 1915 by Harry Von Deelen's dad, William Von Deelen, and he started selling Waterloo Boy. And then in 1924, started selling John Deere tractors and equipment. Then Harry Von Deelen came on in 1934 as owner. Bill Von Deelen came on in 1959. The business stayed in Gerald till 1976 when a new building was built in Napoleon, Ohio, and we moved here in 76, 77. And then as time went on, Tom Von Deelen purchased into the company, and it just kept growing. Very well-respected dealership, and made this transition of building the new building that we have going on right now an easy transition because of the partnership we developed with all these farmers in the area. In 2022, we had a huge growth. We were at Napoleon at about 16 full-time employees, and overnight in 2022, because of transitions that happened in the area of other dealerships, we grew to 40 full-time employees here, which caused the need to add on to this business that we had established here, because not only did the employees come, but their customers that they were used to working with followed them here. So our business grew just overnight, and couldn't be prouder of the place.
Well, as you well know, equipment has definitely not gotten any smaller over those years since the Waterloo Boy first was rolled out, and the space that you guys are building obviously designed to help accommodate some of that larger equipment as well. Talk about maybe the size of the new addition and what it's going to serve as a function.
Okay, the size of the new addition, the total length is 400 feet by 100 feet wide. The main service area will take up 300 feet of that 400. The other 100 will be offices, a larger showroom, larger parts area. And then our current shop that we are working out of now will turn into a bulky parts storage, which we are currently renting the building that I'm sitting in today because we needed the room for parts storage. So back in the 2022, we had changed our part of our storage building to 2/3 shop just to accommodate the room that we needed till the new structure was built.
Well, a lot of change in the ag industry from the technology side to the mechanical side. And in your years, I guess I'm just curious, 52 years in the business, what are some of the biggest surprises maybe that you've seen in technology or change, whether it's rate of adoption or just what things can do?
It started off, I felt, in a kind of a slow rate of adoption. Yeah, we went to yield mapping was kind of the stepping stone that we started with. That led to variable rate planning. which in turn we added the AutoTrack to all of our units out there now. And now the autonomous part of the picture is coming into play, and people are adopting it and investing into it. At first it was a slow adoption, but I think they found the benefit of having those yield maps. Variable rate planning was a stepping stone to the technology that we're seeing today.
When you first started back in the earlier 70s, what was the average size horsepower tractor that was being purchased by farmers in the area, would you say?
In the 70s, our most popular tractor was that 125, 130 horsepower tractor. And a 6-row corn head was pretty standard, and a 20-foot grain head was pretty standard. Then in the 1990s, like 94, 95, we started seeing the 30-foot headers come into play, the larger combines. And now we go as wide as 50-foot headers and 16, 18-row corn heads. So quite a change in what was needed on the farm, and of course with less farmers, the machinery got bigger.
Well, a lot of changes in agriculture as it's an industry ever changing, but also an industry that is very much a relationship business, something that I know you've taken a lot of pride in, as has the company. Talk about that, the value of those long-term relationships with customers, not only locally, but across Truland's total area.
Total area is the relationship that did start with possibly a grandfather, leading into the father, leading into the next generation, the sons and the grandsons coming on board. So if you do that relationship correct, and I feel we have across the whole board, we have 18 stores total, and you can see just the repeat of the business from generation to generation that follow this business when you do it right.
My guest again today is Denny Bockelman with Truland Equipment. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
Tuesday, August 12th is the day to be in Fayette County for the Southwest Ohio Corn Growers Agronomy Field Day, beginning at 9 a.m. at the Fayette County Airport, Washington Courthouse. Hear from experts like Aaron Wilson, Scott Shear, Rodrigo Worley, Emma Matcham, Tad Nicholson, Mitchell Feeney, and Wendy Osborne on the latest in ag weather, weeds, cover crops, and more. Enjoy free breakfast and lunch, plus a chance to win one of two $500 gift cards for Corn Growers members. Details can be found at fayette.osu.edu.
It's time now for today's market analysis, brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Call 574-566-2113 for information on soybean marketing to LDC.
Grain markets finished mostly higher on a Thursday. A little bit of a refreshing change overall. The corn market tried to rally back to an area that was the previous contract low, at least before the past couple of days. Wheat was strong as well after putting in a brand new contract low. And so the wheat and corn turned around and actually pushed the soybeans just a little bit as well. The USDA crop report comes out next Tuesday. There were some significant weekly export sales numbers for corn and wheat. Honestly, I didn't think they were all that great, but at the end of the day, that was one of the reasons why we moved higher. Nigeria booked 3 cargoes of U.S. hard red winter wheat as Russia was struggling with bug-damaged, logistically snarled wheat. 2025 Russian wheat quality is far worse than prior years, and a greater share will have to be sold as feed wheat. A further widening in the FOB wheat-corn spread is going to be coming to fruition, which also adds to the supply woes of corn and sorghum exporters. Most in the marketplace are maintaining that U.S. wheat is scoring a seasonal bottom, but the large row crop harvests on corn and soybeans are probably going to act as a cap or at least a weight to hold down any wheat move over the long haul. Brokers tell us that fund managers have been active buyers. Brokers reported yesterday that fund managers bought 6,300 contracts of Chicago wheat, 6,900 contracts of corn, 6,400 contracts of soybeans. They also bought 3,200 contracts of meal, 1,600 contracts of oil. On top of the weekly export sales report data, Flash reported sale of 106,000 metric tons tons of corn to Mexico, 105,000 metric tons of corn to Guatemala. The price has reached levels that encourage end users to take forward coverage. So maybe we're seeing places outside of China get in and try and prop up this market just a bit. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a quick look at the overnight trade now, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. September corn is trading up a half a penny. August soybeans unchanged, and wheat for September up a quarter penny. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.